Are you thinking about growing your own asters from seed, but you're not sure how to do it?
Well, it's a good thing you're here because today we're going to show you how to sow your aster seeds outdoors and indoors, step by step.
Hi, we're Sean and Allison from Spoken Garden, and we're partnering with Eden Brothers to help you in your garden. But before we get to any seed sowing, did you know that asters actually evolved from North American wildflowers, which are still an abundant food source for butterflies, bees, and a lot of other insects?
Yeah, and also before you sow your seeds, we need to let you know you need to find the correct place in your garden to sow them before you plant them. They prefer bright sunny locations with well-draining, moist, nutrient-rich soil, and they need at least 4 to 8 hours of full sunlight. Now, before we show you how to sow these seeds, there's some important information we'd like you to know. First off, asters can be either annuals or perennials depending on which growing zone you're in. And asters come in different colors and shades of blue, purple, white, and pink. Another fun fact is that a lot of perennial species that are sold here in the United States are actually native to North America. A lot of annual species are from China, and therefore they're called China asters. But the seeds we're going to plant today, they're called blue and white pompon, and they actually have blue petals and a white center for that flower. It's beautiful. Blue and white pompon will grow up to 20 inches tall and has an upright clumping form. The flowers will mature in 60 to 90 days, and it'll start flowering in the summer and go all the way into the fall. These are easy to grow and maintain, and they're great for container gardens, meadow gardens, and especially cut flower gardens because they have a long-lasting flower. These are heat tolerant and deer resistant, and they're great for attracting bees and butterflies. Blue pompon is susceptible to powdery mildew, botrytis, leaf spot, and some other diseases, and also spider mites, aphids, and some other insects. So make sure to watch out for those.
Let's talk about when to sow your seeds for planting purposes. So it depends on if you want to sow your aster seeds indoors or outdoors. In general, under the best conditions, asters are going to germinate within 7 to 21 days. If you're planning to direct sow your seeds right in the ground, just plan on sowing them after any chance of frost has passed. But if you'd rather sow them indoors and get a jump on the season, just time it so you plant them 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. Let's get ready to sow your aster seeds indoors. First step is to prep and fill your cell trays with pre-moistened seed starting soil or potting soil. Next, grab your favorite seed sowing tool and make small indentations wherever you're going to plant your seeds. These holes should be about 1/8 of an inch deep. Next, carefully grab seed out of the packet and drop 1 to 2 seeds per cell. Carefully cover the holes with a little bit of soil. They do need light to germinate. Seeds will germinate best in warm soil between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. The last step is to moisten them, and that's how you sow your seeds indoors.
Once your seedlings have developed at least 2 sets of true leaves, like you can see here, you can start thinking about transplanting them out into your garden. But before you do that, you need to acclimate them to your garden environment. And that means you need to harden them off. And that means you need to start bringing them outside, starting off for about 2 hours in full sunlight. And then as the days get longer through a 2-week cycle, keep them outside longer and longer. And then at the end of that 2-week cycle, keep them out overnight, and then they'll be finally acclimated to your garden, and then you can transplant them. Once your seedlings have hardened off, you can then transplant them out into your garden, and we're going to transplant ours out into this container right here. It's filled with some potting soil, and you can use potting soil or any general garden soil as long as it drains properly. We need to space these seedlings 6 to 8 inches apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some holes here, and then we'll know where we're going to plant these. Gently tease your seedlings out of the seed tray here. And we've got 2 seedlings here, and best practice is to plant these out singly. So I'm just going to pull these apart. Now, it's really important to match the soil levels of your seedling to the soil level where you're planting it. And that means this level right here needs to be at the same level right here in the container. So I'm just going to place this right down in there and make sure we get that. I'm going to hold that steady while I place this soil around it. We're going to pat that down. There you go. And our last step is to water these in to make sure they have a lot of moisture around them and they can start to grow those roots and be nice and healthy. When you're ready to sow your aster seeds outdoors, you can use any type of garden soil, potting soil, topsoil, or other fine textured soils as long as you add some source of organic matter like compost or composted manure. Make sure to space your seeds 6 to 8 inches apart, and we're going to plant them 1/8 of an inch below the soil surface. So we'll start making our little holes here, and then we'll take our seed out and we'll just make sure to plant 1 or 2 seeds in each hole
And then we'll cover each seed hole to make sure that soil is nicely packed around it and over it, so it's down at the correct depth. Make sure to tamp down over those seeds so the seed is nicely tucked in there with that soil around it. After planting, you'll need to water in the seeds using a light mister so you don't disturb the seeds or dislodge them. You want to soak the soil to make sure there's a lot of moisture right up against those seeds.
You'll need to keep the soil consistently moist or germination will be erratic, and once the seeds have germinated, seedlings can become stunted or completely stop growing, so make sure to keep that watering consistent. Now in the weeks and months to come, you'll need to consistently water your aster seedlings and plants. This is important because you want them to consistently grow and grow healthy and to produce as many flowers as possible. So even though these asters are heat tolerant, make sure to keep up that watering. Now you want to keep on top of weeding so your asters aren't competing for nutrients and water and growing space with other plants. To help with this, you can also mulch inside a container like this or out in your garden. 1 to 2 inches of mulch is perfectly fine, but 2 to 4 inches is even better. This will definitely help with weed suppression, but it'll also help keep moisture around those plant roots and in the soil for longer, so the plants readily have it available, and it'll also insulate those plant roots from a lot of different heat and other things going on in the garden. Also watch out for different pests and diseases like I talked about before. Now you'll also need to stake your asters because once they start developing their flowers, they're going to get a little top heavy. So it's a good idea to place your stakes early on so then you're not disturbing the plants or the plant's roots when you're placing these around your garden. And you can deadhead your asters to help promote further flowering throughout the growing season.
When you're ready to harvest your asters for cut flowers, here are a few tips. You'll want to harvest them in the early morning, right before or at sunrise. Be sure that each plant is fully hydrated and is looking as healthy as possible before making your cuts. Cut each stem at least 20 centimeters or 12 inches below the flower. Try to make your cut above a new bud. Immediately place each cut stem into a bucket of cool, clean water. Place your buckets in a shaded area out of any direct sunlight until you're ready to process them and place them into any kind of vase.
Now, if you need more flower planting, growing, or harvesting tips, you can always go to EdenBrothers.com and check out their planting guides.
And we hope this video was really helpful for you in sowing your own aster seeds. And from us at Spoken Garden and Eden Brothers, thank you for watching.